Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster's celebration service. Please join in the singing of our opening song today.
We come together to behold the power of love, the power of light. We come together to behold. We are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, whirl in the grace. See God in every face. See God in every face. We come together to behold the power of love, the power of light. We come together to behold. We are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, whirl in the grace. See God in every face. See God in every face. We come together to behold the power of love, power of light. We come together to behold. We are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, whirl in the grace. See God in every face. 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 Hey!
Welcome back. I am Reverend Rhona Segarra, and it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the community at Unity of New Westminster in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. We would love to stay connected with you, so please subscribe to our newsletter or like us on Facebook or subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that way you can always know what's going on in our community. The Unity movement offers ideas for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, who we consider our primary way shower and example. And we honor that there is universal wisdom to be found in faith traditions, in song, in story, in poetry, all over the planet. We respect and honor every person's right to choose their own life path. All are welcome here. All are worthy here. All are celebrated here. We open our service today in prayer. I gratefully acknowledge that I speak to you on the traditional and unceded territory of the Semiahmoo First Nation. And we give thanks to First Nation peoples everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land. We give thanks for our connection one with each other. That connection that happens whether we are in each other's physical presence or not. That connection that binds us all together. We acknowledge that there is only one presence, that there is only one power, that power that is understood by many names, many faces, and many paths. And we affirm that regardless of the name, the face, or the path of our understanding, that we are one human family. And it is in that knowledge of our oneness that we send a blessing for love, for peace, for contentment to every being on this planet, to every being, regardless of all the labels that threaten to divide us. We are one. And for this knowledge, for this intention, and for the power that we have to bless, we give thanks. Amen.
What can I release today
The flowers are starting to grow. Have you noticed? I saw daffodils and I've seen crocuses and even some tulips budding in the last few weeks. And it's so exciting to see new life after a time of such darkness. It's been a long winter. And for us, we humans, we're slowly coming out of the darkness of the past 2 years. It has been 2 years, almost to the day, since we had our last service at Unity of New Westminster in person until 3 weeks ago. And as I was writing this talk, I remembered a song from The Wizard of Oz. It is a song when Dorothy and her friends emerge from the forest and they see in the distance their goal, the Emerald City. The lyrics of the song are as follows: you're out of the woods, you're out of the dark, you're out of the night. Step into the sun, step into the light. Keep straight ahead for the most glorious place on the face of the earth or the sky. Hold on to your breath, hold on to your heart, hold on to your hope. March up to the gate and bid it open. Well, today we echo that song. We hold on to our breath, we hold on to our hearts, and we hold on to our hope that we are finally stepping out of the woods and out of the darkness of the past 2 years of pandemic-related restrictions. We look forward to the idea and anticipation of stepping into the sun and into the light. And we welcome that opportunity to open a gate to a new experience of life and a new appreciation for the things that we value. As we welcome spring, both literally and the spring of our new promise, let's turn our thoughts for a moment to the seasons which brought us here. First, let's think of 2 years ago, what I think of as the summer. It was the period before the pandemic was declared. And although it wasn't officially summertime, compared to what happened afterwards, it certainly has the aspects that we would consider summertime. Everything was normal, but relatively smooth sailing. Sure, there was the occasional windstorm or rainstorm, and even some wildfires. Why do I have trouble with that word? Even some wildfires, but relatively comfortable living for the most part for us. Life felt full and abundant. We could meet with our families. We could meet with our friends. We could gather at churches and at homes and at restaurants. We could celebrate together. We could grieve together. On the whole, our lives were filled with color and with vitality. The summer. And then in early January 2020, came word that there was an epidemic far away from our part of the world, in a city most of us had never heard of, and in a country that most of us have never traveled to. And the epidemic came closer. And it was as if fall arrived. And just like the name of the season, our sense of safe and normal began to wilt and wane, and finally to drop off. No one knew what was happening or how long we would be in isolation. And there was a sense of approaching darkness. And in much the same way as squirrels gather and hoard food in anticipation of a long winter ahead, we discovered that people did the same and hoarded too. Do you remember the shortages of toilet paper and yeast and flour? The fall of our sense of security, of our sense of knowing what was going on in our world. And then we entered a sort of winter, a long, long time of darkness, a time which felt like the exact opposite of summer. We weren't allowed to gather with our family and friends anymore. In fact, in some places, people weren't even allowed to go outside unless it was for essential reasons. It was a time when people were afraid. The medical folks scrambled because they were overwhelmed. Frontline workers put themselves at risk in order to serve the people who were ill and to keep the rest of us healthy. And speaking of frontline workers, we redefined the name frontline workers as we discovered the importance of people who we tend to overlook: grocery store clerks, truck drivers, people who work in warehouses, politicians. And at first, just like the first snowfall of winter, we rallied together with a sense of appreciation and solidarity as we celebrated and thanked those frontline workers and rang bells and banged pots at 7 o'clock every night. It seems like so long ago now, doesn't it, that we did that? And then the darkness seemed to be never ending. And it wasn't a novelty anymore. It became a drag. We started to see the longer term effects of isolation and loneliness. And even those who weren't directly infected with COVID, and those who didn't know anyone who had COVID, began to see the effects. People lost their jobs. Some children who couldn't get to school or couldn't go to school and were schooling from home had a difficult time at home. Loneliness and isolation led to a decline in mental health for many people. And once in a while, it seemed that the end was in sight, that spring was just around the corner. We even had a few church services, and although they were with masks and there was no singing and no touching, and it felt like a buffet with nothing but lettuce, they were a ray of light and hope and reassurance that life would and could eventually return to at least a semblance of normalcy. And eventually, through the miracle of medical science and the technology and collaborative human intelligence, a vaccine was developed. Not just one, but several, promising hope that we would emerge from the darkness. And then, just like that movie Groundhog Day, where the same thing repeats over and over, we became aware of a new variant, Omicron, which was even more communicable than the prevailing Delta variant. And back into lockdown we went. The darkness continued. Eventually, though, it became clear that this variant was, on the whole, less severe than the previous one. And so, supported by the wearing of masks and widespread vaccine use, we've slowly begun to come out of the lockdown. out of the darkness and into the light. I recently heard a phrase that has stuck with me ever since I heard it. The phrase is, time is a non-renewable resource. And as we emerge into the spring of new life, that seems so much more important to remember now. And as we turn now in this spring toward a new tomorrow, one which is similar to our past, but not the same, it will never be the same. The question becomes, to use my garden analogy, what do we want to seed? If you think of our springtime habits, we tend our gardens, we choose seeds, and then we weed our flower beds. And then we feed and watch as our seeds germinate and grow. And in much the same way, we can consider where we are now in this springtime and use those same three ideas to consider where we want our next summer to move towards. So the first question is, what do you want to seed? What values were clarified for you in these last 2 years? Values that you may have taken for granted before, but now that you want to nurture and grow. Maybe you discovered that you really missed being part of an in-person spiritual community. Or maybe you discovered the enjoyment of puttering in the kitchen while listening to a service online, and that option is now more appealing to you. Or maybe you realize that you want to spend more time with members of your family or your friends, and you want that connection to stay strong. Perhaps during this time you discovered the joy of baking, or going for a daily walk, or spending time in nature that you weren't able to do before because you were too busy. Or even, dare I say it, you discover the joy of an afternoon nap or cuddling on the couch with a pet, whether the pet is a human, an animal, or a stuffy, as we watch a movie together. Maybe in this time you had an inkling and a longing to change professions, moving perhaps from something that was draining you into something which gives back or serves a community. What did you seed? What are the moments that you want to keep? What are the memories you want to keep? What are the feelings that you found supported you? In all of this crazy time, there have been moments of grace and beauty. There have been moments of grace and beauty. And so I invite you to consider, as we move into our new summer, what do you want to carry forward? What was seeded for you? A new discovery, a new value that you want to make sure that you don't forget as we move out of this 2-year lockdown that we've experienced. Next, I want to look at weeding. In the weeding phase of yard work, a gardener will look at the soil and clear out the things that will interfere with the successful growth of the plant. Well, we can do the same in our lives. And perhaps one of the most powerful aspects of the pandemic was that it gave people the opportunity to get some clarity about what matters to them. Maybe you discovered that something that used to be a part of your life is something that you actually didn't miss all that much once it was gone. For some people, the pandemic forced them to work harder than they've ever worked before. And for others, the pandemic enabled the ability to work from home and spend fewer hours commuting, maybe less time away from home on business travel, allowed shorter work days, more time with family. And whether we worked more than ever, or whether we worked in a way that was more efficient and sometimes even less than ever, in both cases, we realized the importance of work-life balance and that relationship. For many, it highlighted the desire to be less scheduled. I remember coming across a cartoon on Facebook way early in the pandemic. And the cartoon was set in the future, and parents were looking back at this time and talking about how hard it was and what a challenge it was. And the children, who in this cartoon were now adults, were recalling how nice that time was because the family was all together. And certainly the pets enjoyed having their families and their people at home during the day. Now, as things open up, we have an opportunity to clarify what we want. And we are hearing that some people are indeed weeding some things out of their old way of being. They are resisting the return to the old way, the way things were. And this has led, at least in part, to what they are calling the Great Resignation. People are choosing to retire, choosing to leave their high stress and long commute lifestyle, even choosing to leave some of the relationships that haven't been fulfilling for them. And they are weeding those things out. This time has encouraged people to discern what matters to them and how that compares to how they are spending that non-renewable resource, time. And the encouragement then is to take the best and leave the rest, weed the rest. This weeding idea encourages us to separate the wheat from the chaff, the positives from the negatives, and to discern what was for us the best. Carry that forward with us into our new summer. Weed out the rest. What don't you want to carry forward? In the space between the before times and now, that is, during the pandemic, what have you discovered about yourself and about your life or lifestyle or thinking and thought choices? What do you want to weed out and leave behind as you move forward? You may choose to weed out areas in work, in spiritual, mental, or physical health areas, in finances, You may choose to do things differently financially, give more in certain places, spend differently in others. What relationships have you discovered don't serve you as well? What didn't you miss? And what can you remove to make space for new life to grow? Our goal: take the best, leave the rest. Let the good things grow. So we've explored what we want to seed, the aspects of our life that we want to expand and nurture and grow. And we've decided to weed and move everything that doesn't serve us out of our flower bed of life. And just like we do with our flowers and our plants and our children and our relationships for that matter, the way then to encourage the growth of that which we have now seeded is to feed it. And as life reopens, we have a very real risk of falling backwards and allowing ourselves to go back to the way things were, allowing the weeds in. If we don't tend our garden and continue to weed it and feed it, then despite our best intentions, we will revert back to the lifestyles that we decided we wanted to leave. And so we want to feed these new seeds, these new life, so that we can support it and allow it to grow and be nurtured and flourish. How do we stay on target? Well, here are a few ideas for your consideration. The first is take time to be still. Take time to reflect, to notice your feelings, and to notice if you're falling back into old habits. One of the aspects of that before time's life is that there wasn't always time to be still. So take some time every day, even if it's 2 or 3 minutes, just to sit and notice and be open to insight. Second, write down some of your goals, write down some of those seed ideas. And if possible, build the changes that you want into a daily or a weekly or regular routine so that they become new habits. In this way, you deliberately choose to use your time wisely. Again, it's a way of ensuring or mitigating the risk of falling back into patterns that we have honed way up until 2 years ago. Now we're breaking them apart. And now we want to ensure that when we're putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, that we put it back in a way that is intentional. Third, acknowledge that even if you know that you're doing what you want to do, that you know what you want to seed, you know the changes that you want to make, that there may be times even so when you feel some sadness for your old life. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go back to it. In fact, as we come out of lockdown, it wouldn't surprise me if most of us experience a level of post-traumatic response which can include sadness, anxiety, lethargy, no energy, fatigue. I am not a psychologist or a psychiatrist by any means, but it seems to me that we would do well to expect that there will be some level of that as we come out and look behind and see what we've come through. It will be with a sense of awe and wonder, and potentially a sense of exhaustion and sadness. And so if those emotions happen, make space for them without needing to name it or understand it or wonder why I'm feeling that way. There doesn't have to be a story around the emotion. Just allow ourselves to feel it. And by doing so, we give them space to be felt, space to move, and they will pass. Remember that what you appreciate appreciates. And so focus on building the life you want. Be with your feelings. Reset by going into a time of silence periodically. The pandemic has taught us many things. It has taught us that we are resilient, that we are creative, that we are interconnected with each other. It has also given us the opportunity to see what really matters to us. And perhaps most importantly, it has shown us that time truly is a non-renewable resource, and how we spend our time matters. As we emerge from the darkness, let us remember that song from The Wizard of Oz. Keep straight ahead. Hold on to your breath. Hold onto your heart. We have passed through a long, cold, lonely winter. And as we welcome the new flowers and plants in our gardens and parks, let us also celebrate and welcome the new appreciation for life in our lives. Let's seed new habits that fulfill us. Let's weed out the lifestyle choices that no longer add to our joy. And let's feed our new habits by taking time to be still, by staying focused and celebrating our newly awakened awareness. Above all, let's be grateful that we are here and have the ability to choose. We've gone through summer, fall, winter, and now we are welcoming spring. And as we seed and then feed, seed and then weed and then feed, let us remember to keep the best of these times, to leave the rest of these times, and let the good things grow. I bless you.
I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. And every day I affirm and pray that I'm blessed with everything I have. I release my fear, 'cause it's all so clear. I am held, I am loved, I am safe. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. And now I see what my life can be when I trust in the process and have faith. And now I know when I just let go that I have all I'll ever need. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well. I am well, I am well. All is well, all is well. I am well. Ooh-wee.
You are invited to join us on Mondays at 11 o'clock for our weekly prayer service. It is a time where we get together on Zoom and we connect with each other. We share how we are doing with each other. We move into a time of guided prayer. And we read the names of the people who are on our prayer list. And it is a time of renewal, of connection. It is a profound experience of recentering. And so I invite you to join us for that. And if you would like your name, or you know someone who you would like to have added to that prayer list, then please email us at unityofnewwestminster@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to have the person's name or your name added to our list. Mondays at 11. Please mark your calendars for Sunday, March the 13th at about 12:15, right after the service. On that day, we will have our annual membership meeting. At the moment, we are planning to hold the meeting as a hybrid session on Zoom and sharing in the Zoom call for those who are in person at the church. If you are already a member at Unity of New Westminster, your membership for 2022 will automatically be renewed unless you request otherwise. And if you are new and wish to become a member, please fill in the membership form which is on our website. Sunday, March 13th, our annual membership meeting right after the service. See you there. You're invited to join the Unity Canada Lenten discussion group led by licensed Unity teacher Wendy Carr. Wendy will be following the Lenten booklet Release and Renew 2022. If you are on our mailing list, you will receive a copy of this booklet soon. In the meantime, you can get a PDF copy by going to the Unity Canada website, then click on the Learn button and General Interest Classes. If you receive our email newsletter every week, then there is a direct link to download that PDF copy. The discussion group will meet on Wednesdays from 12 till 1 Pacific time on Zoom. You'll find the link also in the weekly Unity of New Westminster email. We hope that you enjoy this opportunity to connect with others across Canada and delve deeper into your spiritual practice for Lent. Our dear friend Lyle Dellingham is making a denim quilt, which will look similar to the beautiful creations that he has already made and which are shown on your screen. When the quilt is finished, it will be auctioned off as a fundraiser for our Medicine Wheel Labyrinth project. We are looking for donations of denim, so if you have any used jeans in any color, in any size, please drop them off at the church on Sundays or on Wednesdays and Fridays between 11 and 1. Thank you, Lyle, for your generosity. I can't wait to see the finished project. These that you have already completed are absolutely beautiful. We are grateful for the financial support which we receive from those who enjoy our programs. With the pandemic, some of our expenses have been lessened and some of our expenses don't go away. So thank you for your generosity which supports our ministry. We give a portion of our income to organizations that do amazing work in our community, both locally and in our province. So your gifts make a difference in lives. We welcome donations by credit card, check, cash, or our preferred method, Interac e-transfer to unityofnewwestminster@gmail.com. Interac is free of service charges. Thank you. Now, please bring to your hands, to your hearts, or to your minds something that you are grateful for as we give thanks and remember how much we have to be grateful for. We are so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And we come to the end of another service. I thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed your experience with us today. I wish you all a very, very blessed week. Goodbye, everybody.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God, I am the love of God, I am the power of God, I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God, I am the love of God, I am the power of God, I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God, you are the love of God, you are the power of God, you are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. You are the light of God, you are the love of God, you are the power of God, you are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. We are the light